When TT Games released LEGO Star Wars the video game in 2005, they probably knew they had something special on their hands. More than a decade, 12 franchises, and 19 games later, the tried and true formula still proves that it has something new to offer in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. Sure, I have a huge nostalgia for Star Wars. Sure, I have a huge nostalgia for LEGO games. And yes, I do have a combined nostalgia for the other LEGO Star Wars games. And while that certainly played a role in my enjoyment of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, I believe that even the most jaded fans of LEGO games can find refreshment in the latest installment of the series. Let's address the white bantha in the room. This is a LEGO game, so it was developed to pander to the lowest common denominator: children. Frankly, this game is easy as all get out. But purchasers of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens aren't looking for a kick-your-teeth-in Dark Souls-esque experience. They want to break blocks and build blocks under the guise of witty and innocent humor. And this game is exactly what it promises to be, and nothing more. A fun and simple LEGO-fied take on one of the most beloved movies of 2015. The gameplay remains largely unchanged from former LEGO games. You break stuff, you build stuff, and you mash the attack button a lot. That said, the developers did venture out into new gameplay territory with multi-builds, third-person combat, and spaceship combat. The multi-builds provide a small but substantial amount of choice to the player. Do I build a giant spider to take out the stormtroopers, or do I build a popcorn machine to lure them out with buttery goodness? Fun little choices like this help to keep the game fresh while not altering the course of the entire game. The new cover-based third-person combat is an interesting addition, but it does grow stale after the first few sections. The shooting isn't nearly as competent as, say, Gears of War, and it essentially becomes a point-and-click shoot-'em-up. Those sections didn't bore me, but they didn't exactly excite me either. What did get my blood pumping, however, was the addition of free-flying space combat. LEGO games have always had on-rails vehicle sections, but this time TT Games lets the player fly around in dogfighting matches that are sure to provide a thrill. They reminded me of the aircraft combat in the original Star Wars Battlefront. While these sections aren't terribly complicated, they gave an oddly authentic feel to the game. I legitimately felt like Poe Dameron while kicking some stormtrooper butt. That's huge for the LEGO series. While the gameplay remains largely unchanged from other LEGO games, the aesthetic of the game blows its predecessors out of the water. Podcast Beyond cast member Brian Altano remarked that the game looked as though somebody took Star Wars Legos and placed them outside in the real world. I agree completely. TT Games created legitimately beautiful backgrounds to set its playsets up in. Plus, there's just something so special in seeing your favorite characters in minifig form. Little BB-8 might be one of the most adorable characters ever, while Kylo Ren's teenaged angst flows from his tiny plastic body. The music also plays a large role in the game's aesthetic. John Williams' typically phenomenal score plays throughout the whole game. The developers did a marvelous job capturing the feel of Star Wars, comparable to the work DICE succeeded with in Star Wars Battlefront. My favorite part of any LEGO game is the quirky humor that emanates from each title. When the series made the jump to voice acting for LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes, I must admit that I was not a fan. I felt as though it took away the creativity of telling the story silently. Limitations, after all, breed creativity. While the voice acting did allow for TT Games to more competently tell a brand new story, I wish they would have stuck to the pantomime for stories that have already been told. In LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, they choose to stick with voice acting, and for the most part, it does work. While I would have enjoyed the silent style more, they did bring in Harrison Ford, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Adam Driver to add original dialogue to the movie script. This allowed for many cheeky lines, such as when Han told Finn, "And remember, you don't have to wait for them to shoot first." Cute little nods like this are the crux of LEGO games. It is what gives the LEGO games their soul. My personal favorite nod is one to both Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. Inside jokes that will go over most kids' heads. For trophy and achievement hunters, LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens will be an enjoyable game to 100%. There are, of course, the classic finish the level and collect all blank trophies. I love a good collectathon, and LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens does not disappoint. The trophies that intrigued me, however, were the silly ones that TT Games chose to include. There was one called "Hey, that's mine!" You had to play as Unkar Plutt on the Millennium Falcon. Another trophy called I Like That Wookiee requires you to finish a level as Chewbacca and Maz Kanata. Little nods such as this are proof that the developers are passionate about the subject matter and provide encouragement for the players to keep playing their game. Ultimately, if you love Star Wars The Force Awakens, then LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is a borderline must-play. The only caveat to this statement is if you absolutely hate LEGO games. If that's the case, then this game will not do enough new things to persuade you otherwise. If the LEGO games have grown stale for you, then I encourage you to give this one a try. While it does have very dumbed-down puzzles and simple gameplay, the atmosphere, new gameplay sections, and giggles are sure to keep you engaged. I enjoyed my time with LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and I can't wait to get back to its blocky world.